Okay, before we get to the video, I just want to say every time I wear this shirt, a blockbuster trade happens, and today is no different. It's 11 near the East Coast or whatever, and they just traded Jrue Holiday. That's right. The Portland Trailblazers, who they just got Jrue Holiday in the Damian Lillard deal, have officially traded Jrue Holiday to the Boston Celtics. So all the reports about the Celtics not being that interested, all this and all that, it was all smokescreen. The Celtics pulled the trigger. They traded Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, a 2029 unprotected first round pick, and the Golden State Warriors pick in, I believe, 2024. So let's calm things down, right? So first off, it's been a crazy 2 weeks in the NBA, right? Dame is officially a Milwaukee Buck. The questions we kept asking ourselves is who in the East is going to be able to compete with that firepower between Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is fair because the other teams on paper just didn't stack up from the talent perspective with those type of two in terms of a dual combination. But now for the Celtics, you answer the call. You officially trade for Jrue Holiday, a player that, for all of his flaws or whatever people might want to point out on the offensive end at times, even though he's still a really good player, defensively is still one of the best guards in the league. Probably the best guard defender in the league still to this day. And the fact that you're adding him to this Celtics team is crazy because as good as Marcus Smart was, we can finally stop all of this talk about how Marcus Smart fits in defensively and how Boston's going to miss that. You now have Jrue Holiday, who is a better player and a better version than Marcus Smart in terms of him being a three-point shooter, his passing, and his individual scoring. He's just a better player. So now you have Jrue Holiday as a third option, which we've seen Jrue Holiday as a third option, be a guy that can help a team compete to win a championship. And now it takes the load off of Tatum and Brown to again have to create and play make. They now have another ball handler who can take that responsibility off of them. But more than anything, they now have another premium defender to their defense, which matters so much. And if Jaylen Brown can bounce back and get back to the defender that he was at a certain point, we are talking about a team that can absolutely match up with the Milwaukee Bucks. And I say this because as dominant as Giannis is, as dominant as Dame is, as dominant as the two-man game of those two can be, obviously, Jrue Holiday is one of the most switchable guard up type of defenders in the NBA. Jason Tatum is a phenomenal defender as well. Porzingis in the paint was also pretty good defensively, and they have more depth than the Milwaukee Bucks. That's right, I said it. I think the Boston Celtics have a bit more depth, a bit more pieces to do certain things on the court, especially defensively, than the Milwaukee Bucks. Because obviously, for the Bucks in one offseason, you lose Wesley Matthews, you lose Javon Carter, and you lose other pieces like Grayson Allen. Those types of things really hurt your team, but you do it because it's Damian Lillard, so I understand. But for the Boston Celtics, this is the definition of a win now move, and I got to say, you got to give a lot of credit to Boston. This offseason, Boston has prioritized winning. They prioritize keeping their continuity with their players for the most part, but they're also not overvaluing players. And as good as Robert Williams is, I think he's very, very good. I think they ultimately made this deal because Robert Williams' injury history is a thing. And ultimately, if he's not ready to go for this Celtics team long term, could you really bank on that compared to having Jrue Holiday, who is more durable, adds a premium value to that team defensively, and also answers some of the questions that we've been talking about in terms of defensive flexibility and playmaking versatility for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So to me, it's a perfect fit. And the fact that Boston is looking to extend Jrue Holiday and Jrue Holiday wanted to go to the Celtics really speaks volumes to what they're trying to do. So I love it. And me personally, in the Eastern Conference, I'm sorry. Before, I was a bit iffy on like counting Miami all the way out, but now I'm really leaning towards this is a two-team conference between the Bucks and the Celtics. This should be the Eastern Conference Finals. And more importantly, this should be the two teams that can actually compete out west. I still think the Celtics probably have the nod. I would say that. I think the Celtics have the nod to go to the finals now. And again, it's mainly because that threesome that they have with Tatum, Brown and Jrue complement each other well. The defense between those three, specifically if Brown can get back to what we know him to be, can also be great. But the question now, more than anything, comes to Boston's front court. And we talked about it. Even though I do think Rob Will is injury prone, we cannot ignore what Rob Will provided to the Boston Celtics in terms of defense. He was a premium defender to their ball club. And when he wasn't there, they still had a pretty good defense. But clearly, the best defensive version of this team was Rob Will and Al Horford as their defensive front court, paired with Tatum, Smart, all of that. And now you lose that. So now the chips are on. Can Al Horford have one more good year before he phases out into being this older player that can't produce at the same value? The question now becomes, can Kristaps Porzingis stay healthy and be a valuable player in their front court? Because now Porzingis doesn't have to do much now, honestly. He doesn't have to average 20. He doesn't have to even put up 18. At this point, you're just asking Porzingis to provide length in the front court, space the floor, and maybe average 15 points. Because adding Jrue Holiday, you're going to add scoring and you're going to add a versatility of lineups. And I kept saying this. What the Bucks didn't value, understandably so, because Dame, fits. But what people don't talk often about the Bucks is having Jrue Holiday on your team defensively at the point guard position. What that does for your team is normally teams have their weakest link at their point guard. So they have to cover up something defensively at their point guard position. When you have a player like Jrue, who is not just good on defense, but elite defensively, and he's far away from being a defensive liability, you're talking about a team that has multiple guys that are not weak defensive links. If we're projecting their starting lineups, it's probably going to be Jrue at the 1. You could argue Derek White at the 2, Jaylen Brown at the 3, Jason Tatum at the 4, Porzingis at the 5. That can be their roster, which I think adds a lot of premium value. I think there's a lot of switchability there. There's size there. There's length there. And the weakest link defensively in that lineup is probably between Jaylen Brown or Porzingis, I think, because White is still a phenomenal defender. So that's a very good lineup. And obviously, if Jaylen Brown gets back to who we know him to be defensively, it's not even Jaylen Brown. I just love that type of lineup. And there's now multiple lineups with guys who can ball handle and do things that they can test out. The non-Jaylen Brown minutes where you have Tatum staggers can work extremely well with Jrue Holiday. Or Jrue Holiday maybe can be the lead ball handler in certain lineups. Obviously, Tatum and Brown are going to be on the court for the full 48 minutes, at least one of them. But I'm just saying it adds depth to what Boston can throw out there a lot more. So I like that. It addresses the perimeter defense point with Smart, and specifically for Damian Lillard, a guard that is proficient at pull-up situations and at operating pick and rolls. You need a guy like Jrue Holiday that can be switchable and navigate through those screens and really make his impact felt on the defensive end towards that. So for me, I love this for Boston, and more importantly, I love this for the NBA. This is shaping up to be a very fun season with parity. The Eastern Conference has gotten significantly stronger than it was last year. Those two teams at the top are going to be fighting to make the NBA Finals. And you can argue that these teams on paper have the talent and the disposable fit to actually make it to the finals and win and beat a West team. Now, I still think the West is tough. We've been saying it. The difference is the West from like 1 to 11 is filled with tough playoff competitive teams. The Eastern Conference is extremely top heavy with that top 2 and everyone else kind of getting in where they fit in. But I love this move for the NBA. Again, it's going to be very, very fun to watch. Y'all let me know in the comment section below if you think that this move makes Boston a much better team. Do you think they're going to miss Rob Will? Would you have done this trade? Let me know these things in the comment section below. I'm going to have another video, maybe like a podcast format video, breaking down the specifics as it relates to the Portland saga of trading Dame, because now we officially have everything that's come from the Dame trade. The picks, we don't know what those picks will turn out to be, but we now have the full chart of stuff that Portland got for trading Dame. And I think that full value needs to be addressed. So later this week, that'll come. I'm gonna also be doing a podcast with a Bucks fan as well. So yeah, crazy times in the NBA. NBA season is right around the corner. I'm also going to be doing a bunch more game and live stream during the season as well. So make sure to tap in here to Gifted Hoops on YouTube and also to the playback. All those links will be in the description in the comment section below. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'm going to head out because I actually had things I plan to do from a content perspective. I was going to get my hair cut, but this takes precedent, obviously. But appreciate all the support. We just hit 1.4 thousand subscribers on the YouTube. It means a lot. But I'll catch you guys in the next upload. Peace out, people. Have a good one. We're going to talk in depth about the Eastern Conference on future podcasts. So stay tuned for that. But I'll catch you guys. This is my trade reaction video. Peace out, people.